Right when you thought the rumors out of Philadelphia couldn't get any more insane, ESPN just dropped a ridiculous Jalen Hurts take that has everybody losing their minds. Plus, we finally have real reporting confirming Howie's desire for Maxx Crosby and the brand new plan for Dallas Goedert that would be literally perfect. Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. Well, NFL free agency is inching closer and closer every single day. And just when you thought things would start to quiet down in the city of brotherly love, we got a ton of little nuggets overnight that range from the outright absurd to the dream scenario for Howie and the Birds front office. And while sifting through that noise is nearly impossible, if 50% of what was just reported actually comes true, the Birds are going to look very, very different in 2026. First, though, as promised, the winner of the Immortal Moments, Big Dom's signed card, is announced at the end of today's video, although I'll give away another one of these bad boys if you want me to. Let me know down below in the comments section, and I'll try and get you guys another one. Now, first things first, I've talked a lot about Maxx Crosby the past 2 weeks, and every single time I bring him up, there are many people in my comment section saying, Thomas, there's been no actual reporting that Howie wants to take a big swing. Quit speculating, it's not going to happen. Which, sure, was true at the time. I was speculating based on the fact that, obviously, we tried to trade for Micah Parsons a couple of months ago, and so, naturally, I figure Howie would want to go for Maxx Crosby. Well, now, though, according to the NFL Network's Mike Garfolo, on PHLY on Friday, Philadelphia, we have actual reporting here, linking them to Maxx Crosby. That sounds like Howie is about to go all in.
What chances do you think the Eagles are a destination?
Like big time. If this thing opens up, and everybody's a player. I mean, listen, they tried to trade for Micah Parsons in the division, right? Why would they not trade for, let me rephrase. Why wouldn't they then be considered a strong contender for a team that would be like, yeah, get him out of the conference,
right?
Get him to another team. And I would certainly put the Eagles top 3, 5, whatever, for Maxx Crosby if and when this thing opens up. And I do believe it's going to open up.
And that's big. That's real reporting from a real NFL insider on the NFL Network saying Philadelphia is not just going to call the Raiders like Howie always does for every big name trade piece out there, and then it never comes true. Howie's actually going to go ahead and try and land Maxx Crosby. Philadelphia is in the top 3 or 5 teams. Does the guarantee Philadelphia will actually make it happen? No, but I do think the one thing the Birds have going for them is that Maxx Crosby played in Philadelphia this year and went on a podcast a couple of weeks ago saying how much he loved the Eagle fan base, the Eagle Stadium. He loved everything about the Birds. And I think a lot of other teams trying for his services are not going to have the pedigree and the winning history of Philadelphia. And if Crosby, a perennial loser with the Raiders, wants to win, Philadelphia is probably the best place he can go. I honestly don't know why this would come as a shock to basically anybody. Like Howie keeps telling us he wants an elite number 1 pass rusher, and Crosby right now is the easiest, and I would say technically cheapest of said elite edge rushers. And while sure, I think Howie saw the Jalen Phillips midseason trade as a win, but given the option, he's picking Crosby 99.99% of the time. And I think that's why we haven't heard really any reporting on Phillips and the Birds and their desire to return to each other in free agency despite it being 1 month away. I personally think Phillips wants to come back. He's hinted at that, sure, but maybe he does realize his spot might be filled by a guy who Brian Baldinger said on PHLY yesterday would instantly become the best edge rusher Philadelphia's ever had since Reggie White.
I'm still waiting for them to build a statue to Reggie in the city. But next to Reggie, obviously there's been a lot of great players. But he would be pretty close to a modern day Reggie in this town. Like he'd be like the 98 jersey, the jerseys, the whole thing, everything would maybe Jalen Carter, gives him the number, maybe does. It doesn't matter. Like whatever jersey number he takes, it would be, I would say this, newborn kids, they would name their son Max with 2 X's.
And so we'll see. Doesn't guarantee anything, but I think it definitely gives a lot of hope that Howie is looking to go ahead and add a big-time edge rusher. Will it work out? Will it not? Who knows? Could they just re-sign Jalen Phillips if Crosby doesn't work out? 100%. And I would like that. He'd be cheaper technically. But for those wondering, is Philadelphia actually in on Maxx Crosby? The answer appears to be yes. Also, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this video, Extra. Most of you guys know I've been using Extra wallets for almost a year now, literally every single day. But then they sent me this bad boy about 3 months ago. It's the Extra Cardholder Pro with MagSafe, and it completely changes everything. This is easily Extra's smallest and most enhanced smart wallet yet. And these magnets actually work on both sides, and that means it stays secure on your phone while still allowing you to attach other MagSafe accessories on top of it. It's also made from 100% recycled aluminum and is actually 30% smaller than the regular Cardholder Pro, which was already very tiny. And despite the smaller size, the ejection, which is my favorite part right there, is even better. And it was already fantastic. And so you pop your cards up just like that. And the new design is actually cleanable, and so it's going to last even longer. If you were like me and wanted to finally ditch your extremely bulky old leather wallet, this is the best way to do it, the thinnest way to do it, I think the coolest way as well. You basically get the signature extra quick access tech in a footprint that fits perfectly on the back of your phone. And right now, Extra is running their Valentine's Day sale, which is going until February 25th, and currently it's 45% off. However, use my link down below and my promo code ThomasMott, get an additional 10% off your wallet. That's 54% off. I know you want one of these bad boys. Use my discount code down below. Grab one today. Now, quickly staying with Garfolo and on PHLY, he was also asked about Dallas Goedert, and I think his response is pretty darn promising here. He mentions a one-year deal being an option, with Howie also wanting to sign or draft another tight end to help create the heir apparent to number 88's throne.
I know Dallas would like to come back, all things equal. He took a pay cut last year to make it happen. But even then, you gotta have yourself multiple tight ends. I mean, that's what I honestly was surprised they didn't do more for that position coming into last year, knowing that he was potentially going to be gone beyond this season, and Howie's been pretty good about getting somebody who can then be the successor at multiple positions. He's done it in the secondary. He's done it at the offensive line. He didn't do it at tight end. And this could be the year that he does it. They get Goedert back on a one-year deal, draft a kid early in the draft, or maybe go out and sign somebody and have that kind of transition.
That to me would be the ideal scenario at tight end in 2026. Goedert returns for one more season on a team-friendly deal following that double-digit touchdown onslaught in 2025. But Philadelphia makes sure this graphic you see on your screen right now, showing the tight end tree dating back to Chad Lewis in the early 2000s, remains intact. They're kind of like Sith Lords in Philly. There's always been a second tight end waiting in the wings for the birds, and this offseason hopefully will be no different. Does that mean Philadelphia is guaranteed to get Sadiq out of Oregon in the first round of the NFL draft? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe so. What this does tell me, though, is that Howie is looking for an additional, much better tight end than Grant Calcaterra. And the good news is it's a deep free agent tight end class and a very deep tight end draft class behind Sadiq. So the options are really plentiful. Moving on, but staying with the offense, and I want to touch on this for 1 second briefly here, because yes, Ken Patullo, probably saw it by now, he signed with the Dolphins just the other day to be their brand new passing game coordinator, which I'm not going to linger on. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. None of us like Ken Patullo. None of us think he's going to do much with the Miami Dolphins, but I'm very curious to see how Tua Tagovailoa looks in an offense that features A-chain up the middle, and then a deep ball to Jalen Waddle before a punt. Super fun. Good luck. The real fun to me, though, and I mean that sarcastically when it comes to the offensive news this week, is surrounding Jalen Hurts, what ESPN's Jeremy Fowler told the Get Up crew yesterday about the Birds' desire to draft a quarterback early this coming April to challenge Jalen Hurts' throne.
One question around the league is, do they draft a quarterback maybe in day two to apply a little bit of pressure on Jalen Hurts, who I believe is at a crossroad right now after the way last season went. And Jalen Hurts was drafted in the second round, eventually replaced Carson Wentz, who got a massive deal just that offseason before. Does that same thing now happen to Jalen Hurts eventually?
Now, I'm sure your mind did what my mind did when you heard this report, which really goes back to Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, the drama in 2020 when Philadelphia spent a second-round draft pick on a quarterback when everybody, myself including, said Carson Wentz is the guy. And man, is a report like this exactly what local Philadelphia radio and news stations like to jump on, because we've gotten a ton of takes the past 24 hours of, oh my gosh, they want to replace Jalen Hurts. Oh, this is absolutely crazy. But in that clip, Jeremy Fowler is not saying, I heard from inside the Eagles building they want to draft a quarterback. He literally is saying speculation from executives around the league, maybe Philadelphia wants to draft a quarterback early in the NFL draft. That means it's all speculation and not coming from inside the NovaCare complex. And here's the real deal. I think Philadelphia does draft a quarterback this offseason. I think Tanner McKee likely gets traded. But the idea of Philadelphia is going to spend a second-round draft pick on a quarterback, to me, is insane. Mainly because historically, this is one of the worst quarterback draft classes in recent history, and Carson Beck in round 2, that to me would be a fireable offense. This to me, though, does show the type of scrutiny that Jalen Hurts has to deal with, where people go above and beyond any other quarterback in the NFL to bring this guy down. And this is a guy who just took his football team to the playoffs for the 5th straight year since he became the starter back in 2021. He's also coming off a Super Bowl MVP last season and has basically had 2 great seasons and 2 mediocre years, but even in the bad years, they still won double-digit games. There are a ton of NFL teams that spend decades trying to find a quarterback who can even get close to the success Jalen Hurts had in the past 5 years. Look at Justin Herbert as a great example. Lamar Jackson can't get to an AFC title game, or at least win an AFC title game. We don't know how good we have it with Jalen Hurts, but this is what he has to deal with as being the Eagles quarterback, and I don't know if it's ever going to stop. The best example of this has to be Emmanuel Acho, who I know we all hate, media member, former NFL player, and clickbait mastermind, who said yesterday, quote, saw Jalen Hurts at the Super Bowl sitting in a corner by himself with sunglasses on. Read nothing into that or read everything into that. Like you at a party with your peers, why are you all alone? We've heard nothing but rumors about Jalen Hurts not being that cool with people inside the Eagle locker room. I've seen everybody at the Super Bowl do not have camaraderie with other people in the league, which honestly is just a hilarious take because there are a ton of photos showing Jalen Hurts at that same party, surrounded by people, smiling, talking, having a good time. I mean, Acho was literally ripping Jalen Hurts because he saw him at a party on his phone, not talking to people, and was like, oh, well, that means Jalen Hurts has no friends. That means Jalen Hurts goes to a party and nobody wants to talk to him. That is the level of insane hot take, scrutiny, media garbage that Jalen Hurts deals with every single day. But then, of course, you have stuff like this from former teammate Sean Bradley, who came to Jalen Hurts' defense on Twitter. He said, quote, he's a great leader, great teammate, great player, not being biased. I have nothing bad to say about bro. Leads vocally, leads by example, works his butt off day in and day out. Don't talk about what he does. He just does it. A true born winner and competitor. Anyone who's been in that locker room at war with him will say the same. He'll be back on top soon. Philadelphia is probably going to draft a quarterback at some point in the NFL draft. They lost Kyle McCord. They might lose Tanner McKee. They have a quarterback factory. It's going to happen, but it's not going to be in round 2. And even if it was in round 3 or round 4, that's not them sending a message to Jalen Hurts. That's not them trying to go ahead and get his heir apparent ready. All those reports are ridiculous, and they're not really sourced in anything but outside noise from outside executives. Does Jalen Hurts have to be better in 2026? Sure. But I think they are clearly showing you that they trust he can do that by completely gutting the Eagles' offensive coaching staff to get him a modern, quarterback-friendly coaching staff in Sean Mannion. And that, to me, is the end of the story. Will we still get news like this? And I'm sure plenty of other reports for Jalen Hurts the next couple of months? Yes. But that's what it's like being a quarterback in the National Football League in Philadelphia. It's the exact same thing I told Josh Davis during our live show a couple of days ago. If they were to trade Tanner McKee, then I think backup quarterback becomes more of a priority. Sam Howell could still be on the roster. We'll see. But this whole idea that they're going to Carson Wentz Jalen Hurts just doesn't make a lot of sense. We forget how different it was in 2020. We are 2 years removed from Carson Wentz being what we thought was all a really good quarterback, and the regression was really, truly there. There's a reason they took Jalen Hurts in round 2 because everybody saw outside the building, especially inside the building, that the regression was there for Carson Wentz. I don't think the same can be said for Jalen Hurts. And the main reason is we've seen Jalen Hurts with good offensive coordinators, right? We've seen it. We saw Carson Wentz be great for one season, and that was it. Every other season was extremely volatile, extremely up and down, and it slowly got worse every single year. Jalen Hurts just had one bad season that wasn't the first one in 2021, right? You kind of throw that one out. That one doesn't really count. Great in 22. He threw for a lot of yards, threw a lot of touchdowns, actually had a pretty good offensive season in 2023 for the most part. A.J. Brown had a good year that year as well. Didn't run the football very well, terrible defense. 24 came back really, really good. And then, of course, 2025 was probably the worst out of the ones that I just listed. But the idea that they would go get a second-round quarterback, I think it's ridiculous. I don't see it being a possibility. And Philly wants to spend those draft picks to get cheaper at a lot of different positions. Get young free offensive linemen who are on rookie contracts. Get a wide receiver. If they trade A.J. Brown, there's 19 projected wide receivers going in this year's draft. Grab one who's going to be a rookie contract for 4 seasons. Go get a secondary piece, a cornerback, maybe add a safety. All of these are going to be, if you hit on them, a lot more productive and successful for Philadelphia, not just short term, but the next 3, 4, or 5 years on those rookie deals than taking a quarterback. And the final reason is, I mean, come on, what quarterback do you want? This is a historically weak quarterback draft class. We know Mendoza goes 1. We know someone's going to reach for Ty Simpson. After that, Trinidad Chambliss just apparently got a judge a couple of hours ago to say he has a 6th year of eligibility in college football. So he might not even be out there, an option comparable to Jalen Hurts. You want Carson Beck, you want Drew Aller to be the pick in the 2nd round. I'm just not interested. And to me, this is a classic. We must make up a talking point to give people something to talk about because it's February 12th and nothing's going to happen technically until at least one more week when the real free agent rumors begin. And so I think they're going to draft a quarterback. It's just going to be in round 5, right? Round 4 would make sense and it wouldn't threaten Jalen Hurts. Anything above round 4, you do start to kind of wonder if it's a 3rd round draft pick, certainly a 2nd. Anything behind that, you're like, okay, he's just part of the quarterback factory. He's going to learn, not a big threat to QB1.
Yep. And even if someone fell, I wouldn't be overly concerned. Sure. But yeah, like you're saying, there's other holes that they need to fill and there's other areas that they can capitalize on.
Now, of course, plenty more stuff happening next couple of days and weeks. I'm hoping, next week we'll get some real free agent rumors about possible other targets because free agency gets close. The rumors start churning. We'll see what happens. Finally, we'll go ahead and wrap up with the winner of the Jordan Spector Art Big Dom card, and that was a subscriber who dropped a like, and it was Tony B460. Tony, you won this bad boy. Congrats. Randomly picked as usual. Go down below. It'll be all down in my description box. Send me an email, prove it to you. I'll send it out. Give me your address. And plenty more giveaways are obviously happening next couple of days and weeks. I'm Thomas Mott. Weekend's here. The drama in Philadelphia is never going to go away, though, and that's what I try and report on and give you guys honest answers and honest takes instead of clickbait garbage. But, you know, I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.